when you are selling, there are different schools of thought and different approaches. I'm going to show you the approach that most people take. And I'm going to show you an alternative, and I'm going to tell you what it takes to use that alternative if you so choose. So let's just take car selling. You have a company like Toyota. Toyota wants to sell to the masses of people. These are all their customers. See all these little X's? These are all Toyota's customers. They have a ton of them because they're trying to sell to anyone and everyone. And usually they do that by attracting people with lower prices. And this does work. And I want you to think about how this parallels to what you do in your business. Then you have a company like Rolls-Royce, where they may have only this number of customers, two of them, compared to the 100 that Toyota has, but they're dealing with high-end and exclusive people to the point that Rolls-Royce doesn't even do much advertising. You don't even see a commercial for Rolls-Royce, but you see commercials for Toyotas and billboards for Toyotas all the time because they're looking to reach a small number of high-end people, whereas Toyota's trying to reach the masses of everybody. And understand that when you have this many people, yes, it is more customers, but you also get just as many customer service complaints, just as many issues you have to deal with just when it comes to dealing with clients and customers overall, just the more work that you have to do because of the more transactions that you are doing. Each one of these transactions requires a certain amount of paperwork and extra stuff you have to do to button up the sale. Whereas at Rolls-Royce, they had to do all that stuff, but they only had to do 2 for every 50 that Toyota does, for example, because they're only dealing with high-end people. Also, when you're dealing with the higher end client, those of you who do client-based work, you understand that the higher end client usually spends a lot more money. So one of these is worth 30 of these. Also, the higher end client tends to be a much lower maintenance. They do a lot less complaining. And depending on what type of business that you're doing, they are much higher in compliance than the lower end person. Why? Because the higher end person is more financially invested in what they have paid for, whereas the lower end person is not as much invested, which means they will just as easily not follow through on what they pay for because the money isn't as consequential to them, even though they have less of it. That's the reason why they got there in the first place. So I want you to think about in the client-based business that you have, especially those you deal with clients. Do you want to be Rolls-Royce or do you want to be Toyota? It's not that one is necessarily bad. Toyota is a good business. They're doing well. They're making money. But Rolls-Royce is making money as well. They're doing it in a different way with a different type of person, with a lot less effort, still making maybe even more money. So just a question of how you want to run your business. How do you want to position yourself? Who do you see yourself as? Are you Toyota or are you Rolls-Royce? And if you want to be Rolls-Royce, understand that there are certain things you need to put in place to make sure that what you want to ask for from your customers and clients is reflected in the way that you're presenting yourself out there into the world with your brand, with your marketing, with your messaging, and everything in between. Want more of this? Let me know. Work on your game.